This is Live at 20, and you are welcome. I'll be your host on this show, and my name is Joyce. And with me on this show today, I have a vibrant lady, intelligent, good looking, and God fearing. She is a content creator, a social media manager, a content strategist, and also a community leader, and lastly, a CEO of My Food Per Day. And with me, help me welcome Ada Lovely. Hi, Ada.
Hi, Joyce. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a delight to be here.
You're welcome, and thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Let's start with this. Ada, what is something you thought would be easy at 20, but later turned out not to be?
What is something I thought would be easy at 20, but later turned out not to be? Everything, to be honest. And I'm actually saying this with so much. Okay, you know how maybe as kids when we're little, you know how maybe you're in primary 6 now and all of that, you're moving to secondary school, and there's this kind of conversation you have with your friends. You'd be like, by 15 I'll be out of secondary school. Okay, by 18 I would have graduated. 20 I would have married, I would have had kids, I would have done this and done that. It was like that for me too growing up. I feel like we all had that childhood fantasies and all. So because I had such, idea of how life is supposed to go, because I haven't really stepped into what it meant to be living life in 20. So it was easy for me to be blabbing and say, this is what I want, what I want.
Yeah.
So it's just having to now live in the reality of all of what I thought it was going to be. And it seemed like, bro, this wasn't what we planned. This wasn't what we talked about and all of that. So I would say, in general, that worldview, I thought it was going to be easy. I thought life was just supposed to be moving with so much ease and so much, you already know what things just happen. But it's just saying that life requires a lot in the journey of becoming. It requires a lot to truly, first off, step into purpose, to truly understand yourself, to truly be someone. So I would say I thought life in 20s or life after school was just going to happen like that. So everything that is currently happening in my life as it's 20, I thought it was going to be easy. So that's one thing I would say, I thought it was going to be easy, but it doesn't really seem easy.
I know you said everything seems not to be easy the way it is, but can we be specific? Is there anything that makes it more harder, or is there any scenario that happens that makes you feel like, this thing is hard, adulthood is hard?
I think I would link that question to something related to what you want to achieve out of life.
Okay.
So when we were little, again, I keep referencing when we were little, because that's when we just had this free will to think about so many things. I wanted to be a doctor.
Wow.
I wouldn't say I had a passion, but it was just part of the whole childhood, fantasy and all. I really wanted to be a doctor. And what I went through, currently I graduated from the University of Ilorin. I studied biochemistry. I'm currently not even practicing what I graduated with. So it's seeing how we might have had this picture of, this is what I wanted to be at a younger age, but stepping into life at 20, you realize that there are so many factors, so many situations of life that would happen that one way you just realize that things are not happening the way you thought they are going to happen. So if I'm being specific about one thing I feel like it's not as easy as I thought it would, is what I would say I intended to become out of life. So like I said before, I wanted to become a doctor. But currently I wouldn't say I'm so many things. So it's just seeing how it's not just one. It takes work, it takes pruning, it takes understanding, rediscovering yourself, it takes journeying through life, it takes learning certain things, it takes unlearning to truly know, this is what I'm actually called to do, or this is what I want to steward in this season. So it's not as easy as, I want to become this, and then you just go to school and become this. There are so many factors that can affect so many traits. So being in Nigeria alone is already something that wouldn't make that as easy. So I know how my dream of becoming a doctor went from me, I was still a science student. It went from me picking pharmacy to study. I wasn't given the course. I have to change to biochemistry. Such life. Currently, I'm not even practicing the biochemistry thing. I'm into digital marketing, social media management, and all of that. So it's just seeing how it's not as easy, right? Because it takes journeying through life, and all of that requires certain pruning. It shapes you in different ways that you can imagine.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That brings kind of relief because someone is listening or watching us right now.
Yeah.
And if there's anything I think I pick up from there is that, even when life is not giving you what you truly want, is for you, just like you said, you wanted to be a doctor, but eventually they didn't give you admission for pharmacies and all of that, so you then have to settle for biochemistry, and even at the moment you are not even practicing what you studied in school. So but regardless, you are still doing well. So I think that is one thing that everybody should really watch out for. Even when life is not giving you what you want, it's there for you to see it and say, okay, what can I get out of life itself now? And through that, I think that is one thing that stood out for me. Thank you. So currently at this stage, what does life look like for you?
That's actually a very deep question. What does life look like for me now at this stage? It's funny. It's not even funny. It makes sense that you're asking me this because recently I found myself actually reflecting on, should I say, what I'm currently doing with my life. I would say for me at this stage, life looks like stewarding. So this past month, or should I say weeks, I feel like I've been expending myself so much on stewarding. I don't want to use the word other people's vision, but it depends on how I see myself in the equation. I'm someone that is very big on impact. I'm very big on transformation. Like anything that something good is happening here, I want to contribute my quota. Like I want to really do my best with the capacity that I have to help move this thing forward. So I realized that certain responsibilities that I've had to hold on to or had to carry requires that I expend myself so much this season, so much so that it feels like my own things or like my own desires or like my work or more like my own vision, things that I set for myself, I'm not able to put as much energy or as much effort into stewarding those things. So it sort of feels like, although it's not a bad thing, to be honest, I had to sit with myself and feel like this is actually something worth doing with your life. Seeing that you are able to use your gifts, your talents to steward things that are not just people's things, but steward things that are actually moving, shaping the culture, things that are like, I work as a social media manager, content strategist, and where I work, we're in the business of transformation. So seeing that I'm holding such position whereby my work is dependent on someone's transformation, my work is dependent on someone receiving light, it just gives me this, I'm grateful for what I'm doing, even though it feels like my business, I'm not able to maybe work on my business for now. It's just me understanding that this is my season. This is the state. And I feel like everyone whatsoever would need to go through the season of stewarding, because trust me, it's building me in so many ways I cannot imagine. I've gotten access to work with certain, even at church, even at some other things that I just volunteer for, I've gotten access to certain people that on a normal day, if it's not that, I'm actually contributing my gifts and talents, I'm really using it to steward this thing, I wouldn't have access to it, or I wouldn't be celebrated in that regard. So also seeing my season as, this is stewarding season for me, and I'm really expending myself on this responsibility, to be honest. Like I don't even see it as, maybe it's affecting me, I'm not able to run my fruit paddy business like I want to, I'm not able to, even lately I've not been showing up on my socials like I want to, because most time I'll be tired and all. But it's just, I understand my season. I watched a clip of I don't know if you know Pastor Lushola.
Yeah, I do.
So he was saying something about how for a building to grow very, very tall, right, it must have gone very, very, very
deep. Yeah, sure.
So he really spoke to me, because I'm someone that I fear being shallow. I fear being perceived as is she even who she thinks she is or who she claims she is?
Yes.
So I always like to give myself to very deep study. I always like to give myself to very, like, I'll prefer not to come out, show up and talk, right? Than I'll prefer that while I'm doing deep learning. It might seem like, what she even do? We're not seeing her online and all of that, but I know that I'm giving myself to deep learning. So once the time comes, I don't even need to stress myself, because right now I'm gaining experience. I'm gaining all the authority and power that I need. Once I've gathered all these things and I'm able to come out when I want to come out, it's very easy for me to command things and things will happen for me.
Sure.
Because now I'm expending myself with stewarding these things. So yeah, I feel like that's the season I'm at right now, and I'm just really. Sometimes it feels overwhelming, like it feels very, very, very overwhelming because I'm committed to this, committed to this, committed to this. But I'm just grateful to God. It's a privilege to be in such season.
That's so good. And if there's one thing I heard, and from what you said now, I think it's fulfillment.
Yeah.
It might look like at the moment you are not seeing results, some certain results, or it looks like, what am I even doing at this moment? I'm just learning, I'm just building a lot behind the scene. But at the moment there's nothing to show for it, there's like no result to show for it. But if there's anything, and I think success should not, I don't know if I can say that, but success, it should not be defined alone by
the result,
the virality, the much money you are gaining from it, but also, just like you said, what you are doing, even it looks like personally your business, Food Padina, you are not really committing a lot of your time, a lot of effort to it. But at the other hand, as a social media manager, you are giving your own quarter of your talent, your dedication and your commitment to somebody else, and it is actually reflecting to growth. So I think that alone on its own should be able to fulfill you as a person.
Absolutely.
So for people watching, I think, and also use that as something to think and to evaluate your own life currently where you are. Even if it looks like I'm lacking behind, it looks like I'm far behind, but currently look at, is it my season of learning? Because sometimes you've not even learned. It's just like you said, you don't want to be perceived as somebody that is shallow. So you should think, this season that I am, I know a lot of my mates, they are having results, they are already making it big, but you should ask yourself, this season that I am, is it my season to also be seen, or is just for me to stay behind, do a lot of behind the scene, grow depth, grow my capacity, so when eventually I am being launched to the world, I can carry purpose, and there will be so much to deliver and so much light to shine.
That was so on point. Exactly.
Another question I would like to ask is that, okay, in your opinion, how do you think someone can actually discover who they are and what they are actually capable of? And I will add to it, just like you said, you study biochemistry, but what you are doing now, you are doing content strategies and social media manager and every other thing, a writer and all of that. So, based on your own story now, so what will you say to people? How do you think a person can truly discover who they are and what they're actually capable of?
Thank you so much for that question. Actually, I say this often. Actually, something that relates with me, and I usually narrow it down to two things. First, is God. Second, is curiosity. I'll say these are two things that have actually led me into so many things. So the God factor that I mentioned first is knowing that you cannot truly find out who you are without getting to know yourself. So it's like there's this analogy that people give that if you buy an iPhone, right, and then you want to know what you can do with it, you want to know what's capable of doing, you need to ask the manufacturer, you need to read the manual, and then you have to now go back and say, okay, who created the iPhone? So the same thing with us as humans. So the question of discovering yourself and what you're capable of is in the hand of God. Like you literally cannot find it anywhere else. He has the manual. The Bible says that before he knew thee, or before he formed thee, he knew thee. So it means that even things that I'm yet to see about myself, he has seen ahead. So I can only download as much information about myself and my capabilities as much as I know God, as much as I'm closer to God, as much as I believe my identity as Ibagude. So that's like the first and very solid place, important thing, know God, right? Second thing is stay curious. So curiosity is something that has really helped me discover myself. I call myself a multi-potentialite on a journey with God because I'm so open to exploring things. I don't like the idea of being boxed. I don't like the idea of saying, in fact, I don't know how to introduce myself. Oftentimes, like, oh, my name is Ada. I do this. I do this. My name is Ada. I'm a god. I'm a god of my own because my God is limitless. So I have such prowess as well. I'm able to express my multiple dimensions because I know my identity as a god. So curiosity has led me to learn skills. Curiosity has led me to whenever I say on Saturday sometimes I can be Monday to Friday, I can be a social media manager. On Saturday, you will see me carrying makeup kits all around. From people, yeah.
Wow.
So I have learned myself in seasons where I gave myself to learning. I stayed curious, like what is happening there? And people say, "Oh, you are all over the place." To me, it's you are the one at a loss. I'm sorry, because my all over the placeness, who would give me. Always gives me an edge. Always gives you an edge. That's one thing people don't see or learn from people that choose to express themselves in multiple ways. It's something that I feel like people should embrace. It will help you discover the things that are embedded inside of you as you journey with God.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. So let me ask. So what is this advice, or what advice, just one, that you feel like you receive that change your perspective and how you live life now, and how you see life now?
Advice that I received that changed my perspective. I would say I've received quite a number of advice that shifted my perspective. I'm not even going to lie. But one particular one is what is jumping at me right now. And jumping at me because it's something that is very simple and has really helped me understand and live life better. And it's on the idea of discipleship. Funny enough. So my pastor, is someone that is big on the movement of making disciples. And before I encountered this man, I was just what I would call a casual person. Like, I'm a Christian, right? I go to church, do my thing, me and my God, go sing, worship, I sing in the choir and all of those things. But having encountered him, having heard how we were commanded to actually go into the world and make disciples of all nations, and seeing how it was able to relate that with what proves that we truly love God and actually brings true fulfillment. It was a light bulb moment for me to understand that God has called us to feed the sheep. He has placed his assignment on us to go into the world to make disciples. So if we are so involved in our day-to-day life, it's 9 to 5 and doing that, all of that does not account for nothing. It does not record in the book of God that you actually love God. So one thing that really shifted my perspective and how I've been living life since then was the idea of understanding that I need to make shifts. I need to feed people. I need to lead people. I need to care for people, right? And it's something that really helped me to so closely.
Wow. That's profound. And if anything that I feel like I can take out from what you said is to make disciples, to make shifts, and I think one word is to make impact, to give impact to the community and to the general, to people in general. And if in my own word, what I would say is that for my pastor, actually, it's so funny how it's coming from the same pastor.
My brother, my spiritual brother.
Is my sister, actually. So we have the same pastor, actually. So my pastor also, he told me there's something there. And I think that is one advice that I've received, that I've been living my life with. I have a lot of things. Maybe now I want to do something like this podcast. I watch tons of videos on how to host a podcast and all of that. So he told me that he said, copy anything.
Yeah.
If you want to do anything, just copy. Although there is a healthy way to copy things and healthy way to copy things, because you can really want to copy, and this is what she do. She's the food party person, and I just go to your page, download everything and put it on my page. That is what they do of copying things. But I want to do it in something relating to what you did. I come to your page, how do you arrange your things, how do you address your things, and how do you do that. So I copy that, I then re-strategize on it, and then bet my own based on what I have copied from you. So copy as much as you can, and then when you copy, you begin to understand. When you have a full understanding, you don't even stop copying. You still have to then go out, look other people that look ahead of you, that seem to be ahead of you, copy what they are doing, see what they are doing, then bring it to your own thing, and then refine it and shoot out your own thing.
Yeah.
So just copy.
Yeah.
So now to round it up. So if anybody in their 20s watching or listening to this podcast now, what will your advice be for them from this moment now? What do you think they should do differently?
Like I would always say, hold God. Like your relationship with God is number one. It's very, very important, and it's lifelong. So you need to hold God tightly and work with Him consistently. And secondly, like I mentioned before, stay curious, be a lifelong learner, have the heart of a child. Like just stay curious, learn, unlearn. I'm very big on continuous learning. So it's something that you also need to do in your 20s. Trust me, it's going to pave way for you in so much way that you never imagined. So yeah, I think that.
Wow, that's good. Thank you very much. And for me, lastly, I think if there's anybody in their 20 listening and watching this podcast now, I think one thing that any advice or one thing I would like you to do differently from this moment is number one, change your mentality, your mindset, how you see things. Know that your 20 is not a season where you should have everything figured out yet. Don't give room for pressure. Don't give room that I think I'm lacking behind. Just know that my 20 is a season whereby I build, it's a season where I learn, make mistakes, unlearn, and build something meaningful for yourself.
Yeah.
That is what your 20 is. It's a foundation, a season of building strong foundation of what you want to become. Do you get? And secondly, I think then, just like I said, then seek mentorship. Because how can you even build when you don't know how to build? You know, there's a part in the Bible that says, can a man build a house and not count the cost? Because when you don't even know how to actually build, how can you even build? So that's why you have to seek mentorship, because that is what will guide you. A mentor will hold you hand in hand and direct you to what you should do, what you should not do. And if before you know it, something that's supposed to take you like 10 years to achieve, before you know it, 2 years, you're already achieving it and you see yourself doing better. So that is it. And we've come to the end of this episode, and there's a lot more to unravel on this podcast, and you don't want to miss it. So subscribe, like, and share, and comment, so you can be one of the people that will get to see this episode, to see this show whenever we post and whenever we put something out. And if there is any other thing that would like you to hold on to, your 20 is a season of building, so do not rush. Do not forgive yourself from past mistakes. Do not hold on to previous mistakes. Just learn, and stay curious to becoming. And before you know it, things begins to get better. And then we'll see you again. We will see you some other time on the next episode, which will be the episode 2 of Life at 20. Stay blessed and stay curious. Bye.